Welcome everybody to the SEO Vault. My name is Mike, your host today with Mark, with our special guest Simon. This is episode 218. We are here today to talk about the latest SEO news, some fun updates, and more than anything, go over some fun schema and other SEO great stuff that Simon has to share with us. So looking forward to that. Stick around till the end. Going to have some exciting updates again, and we're just going to jump right into it. Mark, Simon, how's everybody doing today?
Hello.
Doing awesome, but we'll get better.
Well,
I'm gonna tell you, Mike set a really high bar for you here, Simon, as he labeled what we're gonna talk about SEO fun stuff. So
Okay, I can just
mean,
sign off now if you want.
no, I hope you're ready to be the party animal you have to be to live up to that. But that was that made me laugh. But anyway,
I've been you guys long enough, so yeah, bring it on.
I have increased my professional demeanor over the years, Simon, as you can probably tell from the fact that I have a shirt on during this call. That's different. But so no too many. I'm not gonna blindside you with anything too wild here.
still fun
Awesome.
though.
All right.
Still fun. All right. Do we have any updates we want to jump into before we?
Real quick, just the dashboard about the Google Analytics, Google Search Console being integrated. You want to talk about that, Mark? I actually didn't get a chance to look at that yet.
We can keep it pretty brief, but we're just on a never-ending journey. Well, actually, it will maybe not end, but it'll get to the starting point in probably mid to end of Q1 as we do some more internal beta testing and run live orders side by side with what will become our legacy dashboard. But we have the Google Analytics and Google Search Console integration done. You'll be able to go into the dashboard and plot the products you bought into your, like, obviously your order data will be in there, so we'll plot the products you buy right into your analytics and search console graphs. So you'll be able to correlate campaign progress with the orders and be able to keep track of it at that level. Just going for supreme transparency in terms of the efficacy of products, and also help you guys out, one, for your agency planning, and two, for reporting to your clients, however you'd like to do that. I saw late last night GBP engagement metrics were wired in. We're going to have a pretty robust reporting suite by the time we launch that, get that out of beta and go public with it early 2024, like I mentioned. So I know the Web20 page just made a post. When was that? Maybe yesterday? I don't know. It was very recent, about following the updates of the Dash, because I don't even want to be hyperbolic, but I believe they're like every day almost now. At least we get some type of update from engineering, and that's just on like the bells and whistles stuff. There's constant things being improved with order management and different data pipelines and stuff to improve the ordering and project management experience inside the Dash. But we're getting updates so often. We even added one of our more recent updates, maybe 3 days ago, was an update that shows updates in the Dash. And then we'll add in a feature request portion there. So just lots of engineering in the Dash. And then I'd say real quick before we start with Simon, because I know Simon didn't come on just to hear about our dashboard, but a lot of operational shifts and improvements as well. We're doing some final testing on a really cool strategy that we've tested a lot to boost GBP rankings. That will hopefully be rolled out within the next week or so, and all of our grandfather campaigns will get that. So if you start seeing bumps, we'll also let you know, hey, we did this, and that's very exciting. And lots of operational. Our white label SEO packages have been completely rebuilt. We're rolling those out, and we're going to release some cool case studies on. You'll be able to see exactly where we changed the strategy on all these graphs, and the rankings just jumped on stuck campaigns and stuff. So, like, just lots going on operationally and with the tech stack, and so that's fun. Just keep hanging out with us, and we'll keep improving, building cool stuff, and releasing it to you beautiful buggers.
I guess a little more than just one update, but yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's going to be exciting. It's a major. Calling it an improvement or even a V2 of the old Dash isn't even doing it justice. It's a complete SaaS.
It's a whole new experience. Yeah,
it's awesome. So yeah. Anyways, we won't waste any more of Simon's time talking about how great our new dashboard is.
Simon, if you want to spend 20 to 40 minutes talking about our new Dash, we can also do that. But if not, we can talk about entities and some of the cool stuff you're doing with your tool. Up to you, really. No.
I love talking about entities. I love dashboards too, and they're very technical. I love getting into the weeds. So yeah, give me a half an hour with HTML tables and JavaScript and stuff, and I'm all over. But the problem is sometimes that if I start thinking about that stuff or seeing it late at night or late in the evening, I'm done for the night. I can't sleep. That's a problem. So yeah, I'd love to talk about entities. So I did a presentation a few weeks ago. I dropped it on my Facebook profile. If anyone wants to go there, because you don't want to hear me yabber on for 35 minutes showing some PowerPoint slides. But I will. In fact, I'm going to share screens here in a bit. I'll show you a couple of slides because I want people to really understand what's going on here. So let's see here. Let me share this. I can share screens, right?
I believe so. Yeah, you have the little.
Yeah. It should be bottom right hand to the left of the leave button. Don't accidentally leave us, Simon.
Share.
I've never done that before.
There we go. And entire screen. This one here. All right. Is that coming through?
It's loading for me now.
Awesome.
There it is.
Right. Look at you. You are prepared, sir.
I know.
The Matrix.
And the difficulty when you do any kind of presentation, that I actually have a course on entities and schema somewhere else, and it's like 10 hours. So trying to distill that into 40 minutes is a near impossible task. So let's see here. There we go. A lot of people are like this whenever they talk about entities, schema, anything technical. That was me back in the day. So anyway, we'll move on from that. The one thing, we were shooting the breeze before we went live, and we talked about this thing, accelerated learning. Can you all see this graph or this pyramid here?
Mm-hmm.
Yepers.
So, and I learned this very early on in school, and I didn't realize it. But I used to not like going into school and just sitting listening to people listen, because I didn't retain it very well. That's not how I'm built. Some people, maybe they have a photographic memory. Not me. I couldn't learn by listening to people. And I couldn't really understand it well just by reading it. But the more I got myself engaged into the process of learning, the more I understood it. I had a math teacher. He was like old as the hills when I was in high school. He's long dead by now. But he actually taught me this process without me knowing it. And he was trying to get me to solve math problems. And I was maybe a C grade student at best, maybe. And when he came in, he literally scared me into doing my best because he knew the latent skills that I had in me, and he helped me get them out. I hated him for it until like many years later, then I loved him for it because it helped me get to the next level. What did he do? He actually had me starting to demonstrate my work in math. Like, how did I arrive at this issue? We had a discussion about it, and then I would actually practice doing it in front of him. He would show me, I would show him, and I would get feedback. But then he would actually ask me to show my desk neighbor how to solve the math problem. So by this, I actually learned how to do math, and I loved it. And I went from being a C at best student to an A or A plus every semester beyond that. So I owe this to him. And if you start trying to teach this anything to people, you will inherently become a much better student, and it will stick with you. Versus like after 2 days, you lose something like 90% of what you learn. So I want to encourage that. Apply it to anyone, anywhere. So a real quick game, and I did this in a presentation a few years ago. If you look at this, and in fact I had ChatGPT write me up something, and I took out all the nouns of this piece of text here. Can any of you really bright gentlemen here tell me what this page or this text is all about? Just by looking at this. All I've done is taken out the nouns. Okay, you've had like 4 seconds. You can't figure this out, right? So if I was to just give you the nouns.
It was a brutal challenge, Simon. I don't know if
I know.
you know how much Mike and I like to argue. Like, we're going to... If you think Mike and I won't sit and argue about this for an hour, buddy, you have no idea who you're dealing with.
I'm sure. So most people, even ChatGPT, if you give it this, it might figure out. But so the magic of this is all of the text minus the verbs. Now, excuse me, minus the nouns, right? Minus the nouns. If I just give you the nouns and take out all the other parts of speech, the verbs, adjectives, pronouns, all that stuff, just the nouns, you get
a sandwich. Damn it, I was going to say that before you turn the slide. Damn it, Simon. I was going to say
a recipe, but I didn't get sandwich.
Mike, you already gave your bad answer, and I was right on the brink of saying a sandwich.
Mark, and notice how Mark strategically waits till the next slide to give his not bad answer?
Yeah. Well, it gave it away when it said clean. Place to blank on a clean surface, I imagine. I mean, there's only so many things. Damn it.
I was this close. Place on a clean object? Come on, Mark.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and then cut it in half. What do you mean? That was obvious, and I had it. It did take me a few read-throughs, though, and damn it, Simon, you were quick on the switch. I know that's not your point, but now I'm all beside myself.
So, I think we can get Sorry, go ahead,
So
Simon.
how does this apply to Google and SEO and entities and all that stuff? Google has, and understand this, that Google, when it's crawling a page, it's got finite resources. I know it's got billions of servers around the entire planet scanning this stuff, but it still costs money to go through and look at a page. The easier you make it for Google to understand what's on this page, the more they'll reward you by coming back and time again and ranking you higher. If you left out all the nouns on this page, let's say you have a recipe site, they're looking at this going, what on earth are you talking about? And they will give up because they're spending too much brain power, computing power, to figure out what the heck is on this page. So this is why entities, because we're moving now more into a semantic search, not keyword search anymore. It needs to know what this page is all about. And here is the actual text with all the nouns, adjectives, adverbs, and all that other good stuff in there as well.
You forgot the entire life story before the sandwich part, though. Is that
for a proper recipe site?
So there's a slide later on. I'll talk about that too. I mean, you can say, well, what kind of ham sandwich are you making? What kind of bread? What's all the ingredients, right? So you can take this now. I know it's a very basic, high level example, but you can take this strategy and this line of thinking and apply it to like car accident attorney in Dallas or something, right? So let's see what else in here. I basically say, look, an entity is the same as a noun. They're not quite the same. You've got concepts and stuff which are nouns, but an entity is basically a noun. All right. I just tell people, don't overcomplicate it. It's a noun. You go back to this over here. These are nouns, and they're also entities. So there you go. All right. Let's see here. So there's your ham sandwich, right? You look at that. Google. What's that new Google? That new AI that came out from Google yesterday. Gemini, where
Gemini.
it says, "Oh, this is a picture of a ham
Where it can
sandwich."
watch and with the recording and stuff and like updates and talks to you.
Yeah,
Looks amazing.
that was some next level stuff.
Yeah.
Like, wow. So anyway, ham sandwich, but is it? So let's go. I know you can't see that, but when you think about a ham sandwich, and ham sandwich is a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a proxy for, say, car accident lawyer, dentist, roof repair, plumber, ham sandwich, right? For this example, where you have different types of different types of ham sandwiches, right? Gluten-free, traditional, kid-friendly, grilled ham, vegetarian, you name it, different types of ham sandwiches, right? So if you go into Subway, do you ask for a ham sandwich? Right, you go up there and order a ham sandwich. What's one of the questions they're going to ask you? And you can answer that, Mark. Or,
I mean, I used to frequent Subway, sir, quite a bit.
yeah,
They ask you what bread you want, what you want on it, hot or cold, a bunch of
What size?
yeah, that's a big
right.
one.
So if they want to
A
ask you
bunch
what
of attributes. Yeah.
yeah, so there you go. Let's say like bread. So you go in there. Do they just have one type of bread?
They sure
no.
don't.
They're all sorts, like
You-
brown, white,
know-
pumpernickel.
We
Like-
all know damn well they don't. They have a little selection there.
They certainly do. It smells so good as well. So that's one of their selling points when you walk by, like, it smells so good. Anyway, so I digress. But when you talk about bread is a proxy for, let's say, if you have a car accident lawyer, maybe it was a hit by a truck, maybe it was hit by another car, maybe hit a bicycle, maybe, who knows, hit by a garbage truck or a big city bus. So think about the different types of, in this case, bread. Remember, bread is a proxy for whatever you're talking about in your site, in your page. And then you can go through like ham. When you go to Subway, what kind of ham you want? Well, there's like 16 different types of ham. I actually Googled some of this stuff. I didn't know what capicola ham is or Parma ham. I've never heard of that stuff before. I don't know about you guys. It's a thing. So if you're doing a recipe site about ham sandwiches, talk about the different types of ham that you offer or the different types of ham you can use in your sandwich. I know this is like really basic high level stuff, but yeah, I tell this at a super simple level because it gets people thinking about how it works, and they can relate it to concepts that they can relate to. Right? Everyone's been.
I think it's great, Simon. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of SEO specific nomenclature and verbiage that comes out, and it becomes like they all just become, I don't want to say meaningless buzzwords and things people hype about, but it kind of does. And then unfortunately, I think we're in an industry where there's a lot of charlatans, and them overcomplicating something means the prescription to simplify it, or maybe not even simplify it, but the prescription to succeed with it is paying them or using a service or this or that. And so I don't think what you're doing is, I think what you're doing is beautiful, as you're kind of deconstructing a term that has, became an SEO buzzword over the past several years, really. At least in terms of, its increased popularity in the, in the groups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think what you're doing is great. And I don't think this is, I don't think this is trivial. I think you're doing a great job. And I think this is what I think a lot of people will benefit from this, man.
Well, and honestly,
my goal has always been to helping people understand, because there's so many, like you mentioned, Mark, there's so many SEOs out there who really don't know what they're doing. I was doing some audits I do a lot of SEO consulting. So I was consulting for a client who was using a big name SEO agency. It wasn't Web20 Ranker, of course. And I looked at what they were doing. It was about schema. And I asked the account manager, hey, why is this schema set up this way? And it was completely wrong. And they came back and they basically said, well, you're not qualified to ask us about this. The schema's right. It's super advanced. And I just almost spit out, when you drink something and you see a funny thing on a movie and all the milk comes out of your nose. I'm sure you've been there, right? It's like, that was almost me. I mean, it's like, really? But I don't fault their SEO team because it's just the context in which they've been learning stuff. It's just not the right context. They picked it up or learned from someone who maybe wasn't the best source, and now to them that's the way that SEO works. Like, oh well. So as a result, the site really hasn't moved much up in the SERPs, and they're not getting any more traffic after July, August, September, like 5 months. Like, really? So anyway, it is what it is. That's my goal, to help people get better, right? So then you've got lettuce and onions, tomatoes, right? Here's one for you. This one over here, how do you pronounce that? Is it like Kumato or Kumato?
Kumato. No, I have no idea, man. I don't.
No idea.
I always get messed with in a nice way, like tomato. I say it both ways, tomato. So I'm going Kumato. Who knows? But yeah,
do you not know the pronunciation? Simon, these are questions we can't leave unanswered. Now you piqued my my childlike curiosity. Oh man.
Who knows? It might be.
What's a Kamado tomatoes?
It's a trade name given to a patented cultivar of tomato developed in Spain called Olmeca, which went by experimental number S. What the hell? Let's just do pronunciation. But that's also... I'm sorry, Simon. That's is all right. Kind of...
So, the one thing I love about you, and also you, Mike, is like you have this insane curiosity, like a little child. Like, what is this? You're always asking questions. Like, you're going to go, like, probably like about an hour and a half from now, after we hang up, you're going to go, what is that tomato? And like, hey, honey, I'm going to go down to the store and pick up some of these Kumato tomatoes. It might be the best thing. I've never seen one. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure you'll be trying to figure out where to buy them after we hang up here. Anyhow,
looks like it might be Kumato. It looks like that's how it's pronounced, but
that's the official. So this is real key, right? Is we're now an entity-based search, and you can't. Keyword stuffing is long gone. It doesn't work anymore. Someone's coming to a page, you've got helpful content, and how much you really believe what Google puts out there, like you take it with a grain of salt, but it really is now coming to be semantic search. And they're trying to figure out what is the context that you're operating within and why is that person coming in? What are they looking for? So, blah, blah, blah. If anyone wants to see this, I even recorded this and put it on my Facebook page. So I'm not going to go through everything over here. So this, right? This really, if anyone who's watching, they fast forwarded to this is the slide you want to take a picture of. This is it. On the left, your entity, which is basically your website, and these nodes or circles in here, these are, let's call it pages on your website. They're all connected. You got maybe the home page, you have a contact page, a service page, a bio page, a blog post. Every one of these, you want to connect to Google's knowledge graph. And Google's knowledge graph is over here on the right-hand side, where you have every entity that Google knows about, billions and billions of them, and they're all connected as well. They all have multiple connections. And your job in your website is to build a relationship, and that's the key word here, build a relationship between your website, your particular page, or your piece of content, or your keywords or entities inside that content to a known entity in Google's knowledge graph. That's all you want to do, okay? You work on that piece where you are making the connection to Google's trying to learn. It wants to know what your website is all about. So tell it, this website is about making a ham sandwich. And there's the entity of a ham sandwich inside Google's knowledge graph. So now it knows what you're talking about. If you start talking about, I don't know, dogs or something, or cats on the page, and you relate it to a cat or a dog in the knowledge graph, it totally confuses Google, and it will just leave you alone. It will run away. So your job is to connect your nodes in your website to known entities in the knowledge graph. Pretty cool, huh? To me, as a visual learner, this makes complete sense to me.
Well, it's something that, like Mark said, it's been thrown around in the industry a lot, and I make a lot of jokes about schema, about them being LSI terms, but the fact is that this is what you're visualizing here is the actual connecting of entities, people, places, things, nouns, and it's how Google understands what content is about. Like, you can add ham to a turkey sandwich, but you probably don't want to talk about that on your turkey sandwich page because it's not relevant, right?
So then it
So,
becomes a club sandwich, right? It becomes kind of a different entity.
yeah,
So
exactly.
Mhm.
Perfect. So,
Right.
no, it's very awesome,
Yeah.
very visual. I love the visuals. It helps a ton, and it doesn't overcomplicate it. Keeps it very simple to understand what you're talking about here.
And that's me. I'm Kiss. Like, keep it super simple. Right. This is how I learn. I have a whiteboard. You don't know if you can see it. It's like a 6-foot whiteboard. I think I paid with all the screws and washers to get it on the wall like $20. And it's an 8-foot by 4-foot whiteboard from Home Depot. $20. Best deal of the century. Anyway, let's see. So this is one of my helpers. There's the one that walks over my keyboard and it's like figures out what the new shortcuts are and turns my keyboard off. So anyway, I took a picture of him with an app, and I think it's only Android, called Google Lens. And you take a picture, and this is like a few years old now, this app. So I'm sure it's improved, the technology behind it. Well, I took a picture of it, and I went to Google Lens and I said, trying to identify what this is. And I didn't have to do any prompting. It just said, oh, this is a Maine Coon cat. And the other ones here, I guess these are celebrity cats, the ones you see on your TikTok pages or what have you. So, but it did correctly identify the breed. Not many people know that this will be a Maine Coon cat. To most people, it's just a cat. So understand that there's different types of cats. Cats are an entity. The Maine Coon is a type of cat. So I thought that was really cool as well. All right, if you don't like cats, you won't get that anyhow. So let's see here. Here we go, entity cards. And this is, like I mentioned before, you go to Google's knowledge graph and you punch in ham sandwich. And actually, I didn't know this until it came up in the knowledge graph. See down here? Did you know this, that the people that invented the ham sandwich are from across the pond? Did you know that? Like, woohoo! We're famous for ham sandwiches. Anyhow, so there's a knowledge graph showing you a ham sandwich. And then you want to talk about the entity of Dallas? Well, there's a knowledge panel for Dallas as well. And if you have to kind of go into more of a somewhere where you can apply this knowledge, I do a lot of work with dentists, cosmetic dentists, so clear aligners. So there's the knowledge panel about clear aligners. So every entity is out there in the knowledge graph, and you just have to make your associations with that. So if you are a dentist in Dallas, then who offers Invisalign, then make sure you get the entities of Dallas in there and clear aligners plus associated entities with clear aligners. Right. Good so far?
absolutely.
Yeah, amazing.
I don't know what else do I have on here. So let me show you some things here. And this is going to be a bit of a plug. So let's go over here. But it's something, so I actually was doing this a few years ago, and I wanted to figure out what entities were on a page. And it's very hard for me to visualize by reading what's on a page, what's on there that I need to talk about as well. So I actually came up with a tool a few years ago, and I think, Mike, you saw this and fell off of your chair when you saw it, and I basically ignored you and didn't tell you what it was. But here's a real life example. So here's a real life example. Let's say car accident lawyer, Dallas, Texas. Real easy keyword to go after, right? Real easy search phrase. Nothing like the easy ones first, right? Then you have your maps. You got all your page stuff up here. You got your people also ask, right? This guy's like all over Dallas. He's like all over Texas too, Jim Adler. So what I do is I will take, and let's say my client is way down here, like page, I don't know, 5 or something. I've already picked one out. Just it didn't take too much. So what I want to do is find out just by entities, what entities are on a given page that I may not have, or maybe I do have on my page that I shouldn't have, right? Keeping it within that same that same semantically related net. So if I take these guys over here, Montgomery, I'm actually going to skip Jim because I think he does a ton of link building. So I may not get the right information there. So you've got Montgomery, Tate, Thompson. I skip any like directories like super lawyers. What else is out there? Yext, Angie's. I skip all those. Right, I skip them all, and then I find my client, and I just don't know who this guy is over here. But what I did right is I punched in his address, his URL, and I'm only picking inner pages. Only inner pages. So this is car accident for Dallas. Yeah, car accident lawyer in Dallas, Texas. And I found all the lawyers in there that have an inner service page about car accidents. And I went off and I scraped all these pages for entities. And I came back with the obvious things like traffic collision. That's an entity. Like you can go over here and open up the Wikipedia page for traffic collision. So these are entities that they're talking about. So over here, I'm seeing right away that because they don't have much in the way of entities for traffic collision, it's car accidents. Why is it here? So what this is over here, it kind of helps me in another fashion figure out Tia's target, which is Ted Lyon. 22 times it's mentioned on the page, but the other guys are mentioning 34, 43, 51, 25. So you probably want to mention the entity of car a bit more. Here, they're like way below the mark of everyone. This one is like super high. And then you get some pages which have these things which are not really related to car accidents, okay? You might accidents, property, vehicle expenses, insurance policies. So they're missing the mark on the insurance as well, right? Now, what also I like to do, because I like to cheat. Anyone out there likes to cheat, take the shortcut?
Never.
Yeah, be a bit, okay, likes to be more, let's say like more efficient with your time and energy and resources.
Yeah, that sounds
Anyone?
good. That's a good way to put it.
Okay. Mark, you
I
like to be more efficient with your resources?
I don't like cheating and
efficient.
shortcuts. I like to be highly efficient.
Yeah. I when I was in corporate, I had a boss. He said, "Simon, you're one of the laziest people I know." So think about that for a while. You'll if you don't get it now, you'll get it in about 45 minutes after you hang up. So I wanted to know, like, say, if I need to talk about traffic collision in my page on my car accident page, traffic collision, I need to have more content around traffic collision. Well, what words in that page are related to the entity of traffic collision? Well, there's a whole bunch. Car wreck, car crash, fender bender, blah. I mean, there's like 2 dozen words here. So now I can give these to my VA and say, please include these words inside my content for this car accident lawyer page. Cool. So I don't have to figure out what all those similes and, not acronyms, but similar words, contextually similar words. I don't have to do that because they're already in there. Or you can feed it into ChatGPT and like, hey, write me an opening paragraph and here's the words to choose from. I obviously don't want to use motorcycle accident, although you could, because you might have a car accident with a motorcycle, so then it's also a motorcycle accident. So this is kind of my cheat sheet, if you will, of not having to make me or my VAs think too much about what to put into the page. I just want to get up to about the average or slightly higher of what the entities are being used, how much they're being used in the competition. So that's kind of the thing I love to do here, is just play around with looking at entities and why other people are ranking when I want to rank up there as well. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you for reminding me. So I do remember you showing this to me, and I was like, "That is amazing. Where do I get access to that?" And you were like, "Oh, it's mine," and then you just ignored me. You didn't tell me.
Yeah, I kept it to myself.
You're just like, I built it. It's mine. I use it internally.
I just built it last weekend. It's like, no big deal. So it's actually available for people. Schema.zone. I'm actually going to put the price up. People are asking for Black Friday discounts. Like, no, it's actually going up. The Black Friday discount is buy it now. What else do I have in here? That's what's cool. You know what? I'm going to go on a limb. I haven't done this. I'm a very visual person, so I want to see what people's schema looks like. I haven't tried this, so we'll see if it actually does anything. If they have schema, that's, oh, there we go, we do have it. So this is an actual visual. You can zoom in, right? And you can usually tell if it's written by Yoast or Rank Math or whoever. So you have all these are all the different nodes inside the schema and how they're all connected. One thing that kind of pops out is like, why didn't have this cluster of schema that's just sitting over here in an island? Sometimes you can do that, but sometimes not. And then over here they have like a service they've defined. So I don't think they've done this really well. They've actually defined a legal service on their homepage. I'm sorry, this is the car accident page. So maybe, but they've got these FAQs here kind of sitting by themselves. So kind of, if you see visually that you've got schema that's separated, that might be a flag that you need to go look into something and see what's going on there. So pretty cool, huh? I don't think you saw this one before, Mike.
No, you didn't have this visual layout like this. That would definitely help visualize when you have like disconnect. Probably like if you have keyword cannibalization on pages where pages are popping in and out, you could probably find some disconnects easily with this. Yeah.
Most of the tools like Rank Math and Yoast, even Yoast these days is good, and SEO Press, they do pretty good schema. But there's like good schema, which pretty much everyone has if you have a plugin that offers that. And then there's like the next level, like what do you really want to put in there to stand out from everyone else? And there's also, let's see here on my presentation. Let me see here. My presentation stopped, but I'm going to go show you something over here. Right. I know there's a ton of stuff on here. I do a lot of work with medical professionals, so optometrists and dentists of the like. One of the big things, and especially when you're at Your Money, Your Life site, like doctors, dentists, lawyers, CPAs, anyone that touches your life or touches your money, you want to have a bio page. If you don't have them, and don't make like a one page for our team, like list every dentist on there. Have a specific bio page for every single practitioner, I think is the correct term for it. So on there, and treat the bio page like a resume or a CV if you're over in Europe. On there, you're going to have things like, well, what organizations do they belong to? How do you trust this person? In other words, if you were supposing that we were all dentists, right? Like Mark and Mike and me were all dentists, and we want to interview a new dentist to come on board to our practice, right? What's one of the first things that we'll ask?
What's your experience? Where did you go to school?
Yeah. And how do they give us that information?
A resume or
resume.
documents.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what, in my opinion, that's what Google is doing, is they're looking at the guy's resume or gal's resume. Well, which organizations do you belong to? Like American Dental Association, right? Okay, what organizations are you affiliated with? Where did you go to school? Like, did you learn on the back of a cereal box? Or did you go to a real dental medicine school? So you want to tell people everything you like, and what skills you have and why you considered the best. And then you have things like, let's see, knows about, let's see here, it's probably in here somewhere, skills. This is knows about, right? So what skills do you have? I know about all these things. So tell people why you're the best and what skills you have, right? And don't just say we're the best dentist in Dallas. Why? Give me some substance. Like if you went to court and you had to prove that you are the best dentist in Dallas, what are you going to take? Like, oh, here's my mom. Like she said I'm the best kid on the planet.
Handsome
well,
too.
No. Yeah, what's that?
She thinks I'm handsome too. Something to always
there
consider.
You go. Yeah. So, well, you might be. So let's find proof why you're the most handsome guy on the planet. At least on your street, something, right? So let's see. What else do I have in this presentation here? Again, this is like super hard. This is a really cool tool as well. Since I have this, there's two really cool tools. And anyone who sees this presentation, they can go onto my Facebook profile. There's links on there. This is a really good article written by Andrew Ansley. He's pretty big on the web. So he did an entity SEO guide. It's a long guide, but really good. Entity clouds. So remember in my several slides back, let's go back several slides. Way back over here. This one here. Oops. This one here. So what entity clouds, it helps reinforce the relationships between these nodes on your website and known entities in the knowledge graph. Like Schema is great, but can you put it to the next level? So the guys behind Entity Clouds figured a way to like super ninja stuff under the radar, where it reinforces these relationship links with a knowledge graph. So like, wow, that's some next level stuff. And let's see what else. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, Content Sprout. AI is really good at writing content, but it's only as good as the prompt and the feedback and the editing afterwards. These guys at Content Sprout, which is, again, Andrew Ansley's, is they do some really kick-butt content, and it's like works out to like a couple of bucks for a really, really good piece of content. Where like a year ago, it seemed like a long time ago now, like what did we used to pay for a piece of content written by somebody, a good piece of content, say 1,000 words?
$100, $50.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, it ranged drastically, but
Right.
yeah, it could be expensive.
I would get, I forget the place. I used to get people, it was like $4 for an okay piece of content, just like a 500-word blog post, like $4.
Oh yeah, for just cheaper content.
It was super cheap, and it wasn't so bad. And I found one or two people that wrote really well, and $6, and I was ecstatic, and they were ecstatic. Now you can't. Like now it costs pennies, and we complain why a piece of content costs like $5 to write. Well, come on. A year ago, it was costing like $100. So anyway, I digress. So Content Sprout's really good. Entity Clouds, and there's a really good thing on Search Engine Land. If you really want to get into the words, into the weeds, and I really do mean get into the weeds, check out wordnet.princeton.edu. You can learn about hypernyms and hyponyms and meronyms and all this other stuff that will just put you to sleep if we haven't already. And ChatGPT is also really good as well. TextRaiser is also awesome. That was a very good, well, it's a very manual way of extracting entities from a page. So check out that. I think it's paid. Maybe there's a free plan too. And then, of course, My Baby, Schema Zone. And let's see. That's how we doing on time.
We're good.
The world's your oyster, Simon.
Uh-oh. The world's my tomato.
Tomato.
Your
tomato.
Your
Tomato.
Your tomato.
So that's kind of like some insights as to how I try to get more efficient with creating content. Is I don't have to figure out from scratch. I don't have to reinvent the wheel what to put on the page. Google is telling me what's on the page or what wins to start with. And you have enough, you give it enough, I guess, evidence that it gives to you. You can figure out what are the common traits. Yes, a car accident lawyer might talk about walks on the beach because maybe who knows, maybe they're on the beach when they took a phone call, blah, blah, blah. But you get the idea when you start seeing stuff which shows up over and over and over again. Like for the longest time, I had this Invisalign page for a client, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't getting as much traffic as I thought it would. And I looked at all the competition, and about 80% of them talked about how much it cost. Like, oh, that is like one of the first things. Like, how much does Invisalign cost? Is it like $50? Is it $1,000? I think it's more like $3,000 these days.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's a question that parents will have. Like, hey, money doesn't grow on trees. So I added that piece into the like, how much does Invisalign cost? Boom! Within a few weeks, there was a traffic bump. That's the one thing I changed. The one thing. What else do I have on here? I want to really okay. If you want to get someone's schema, you can actually go in there. Let's take these guys. I tell people don't do this but someone asked for it, so I built it. Like, wouldn't it be cool to find someone else's schema? Let's do Mark and Mike. There you go. Mark and Mike lawyers, car accidents. So it will grab the schema from this page and replace their website with your website. Now you've got instant schema.
Schema hacking.
Yeah,
Love
but in there in red and then in capitals, like, look, you got to understand this stuff first. Don't just blindly copy. I've seen people copy schema. Like, come on. Or they use templates and they do a search and replace. And then you got things like, well, we're like Montgomery Law. No, dudes, you're Mark and Mike's lawyer agency. So change this stuff, man. Don't be lazy.
Also test it.
And like, you don't have an image called this.
Test it after you put it on the site. A lot of people don't test schema after they put it on the site as well. Even after looking at it and understanding it. I've seen that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, this is kind of, is it okay if I share a secret here?
I don't know if it'll stay secret, but you're welcome to.
I don't know if do you guys do this in your, you can say you can plead the fifth on this one or not, but do you do schema embedding inside an image?
No.
We do not.
I don't. Okay. And if you did, you wouldn't confirm or deny it. All right. You're pleading the fifth on this one. No worries. Some people have done this and they say it works really well. I do it a little bit. It just takes an extra step. This is not EXIF data, where you would like go in there and like do a right click on your PC and like add in the properties. This is actually inside the segment of the image itself. You can put War and Peace in there if you wanted. So you basically drop an image in here and drop in your schema, or you can do like word stuffing, whatever, keyword stuffing in there. It builds you an image, and inside the image, if you can actually upload it to your website, and you can go to schema.org's validator, and it will show you the content or the schema inside that image.
Yeah. It's like a layer of the image, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we tested that a couple of years ago. That was really hot. That was really hot for local.
Yeah, and you can do that for like your GMB images. People will say, hey, Google strips it all out. Well, yes, it does when it presents it to you, but what does it do with an image as it's being uploaded? It has to look at the image first. So what's it doing in that image? You don't know. It might do nothing, but I bet it does something. And then it strips out all the EXIF, it shrinks it down, and then it gives you the public version, and there's nothing in there. So don't think because it's not there in the end that there was nothing that was taken out of the image by Google.
We've had this discussion till we lost our voice, just because of, with local Viking, adding images to GBP, and we have a pretty robust image optimization kit inside of the software, and that's been like a very contested thing. And my thing is like any data you're gonna feed Google, it's gonna parse and read it at the very least.
Yep.
What type of consideration it's gonna give, we can speculate, but it's a
give it something that is of value. That because again, if you're an engineer, you're trying to figure out everything about this one image. In this case, is there something that they can extract from it? Because you bet there is. That we know they can extract entities from an image, like say the cat example.
Mm-hmm.
So they're engineers. They're like these brainiacs out there. Don't just dismiss it if you don't know how they work in inner workings of that. Let's see. Another thing I like to do. This is really cool when you're doing, say, car accident lawyers or something. Let's do Dallas, Texas, right? So if you are let's pick something relevant here. If you are, let's say if you do, let's see, bus station, let's do like anything to do with, permits, here you go. So if you're in Dallas and let's say you're a roofer, let me rewind a little bit. I ranked a dentist website number 1 or number 2 on a page for a local high school. because I was doing content about the local high school. So they ranked on page 1 for like whatever, like Dallas High School, and I didn't want them to rank number 1 or 2. But that's what I was doing back in the day, is giving them relevant local content. Now Google's got a lot smarter. Why would I put schools on information about schools on a dentist website? Doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
However, what if you are giving resources and you are on a page, say a plumber? When you have plumbers come out to your house and they're doing some big jobs, they'll need to get permits. And where do they get the permits from? City Hall, government offices. So what you can do in there, and I just go into Google's Places API. I know you guys use that too. So here's all it's 20 miles. So I need to zoom this back in a little bit. But basically it's telling me where all the city halls are. Obviously there's like Dallas City Hall. These are all the links. And this is the link to Dallas City Hall in Google Maps. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving it related entities. If you want to get your permit to replace your roof, to get your big plumbing job done, you need to get a permit. And to get your permit, you need to go to Dallas City Hall, which is on 1500 Marilla Street in Dallas. If you're in Mesquite, which is close by, right, you need to go here. If you need to go to, I don't know, you kind of have to get creative in here. What are the related places close by to your business? Right, make sense?
Yeah, I did something very similar with permits and a masonry company, one of the first companies I worked with. You could also do like where you get, your materials from, equipment rentals, all those relevant things that, that are used in your company, and all that I've used as well.
Yep. Another thing I like doing is when you're giving people directions, Google's really big on helping people find out where a place is. So one of the things I do is I'll have the client go outside with their smartphone, nothing fancy, and take a picture of like zoomed out of where this building is, where their front door is. And I'll have them go and take a picture of the street sign, like the intersection, ABC Street and Elm Street. Here's where we are. Here's the front door. I'll go further than that, and I'll say, let's say, like we have in Dallas, we have this thing called DART, Dallas Area Rapid Transport, I think. So I look at the train stations, and these are all the different, like the different stations, or light rail, here we go, light rail. Here we go. So I might go, because these are all the light rail stations, I might say, we are like 1 block from SMU Mockingbird Station. This exact text. I won't say Southern Methodist University near Mockingbird. I'll say this text exactly. We are 1 block to the west of this. So I like to use local places of interest for directions. Those have been a really, really good, give a really good bump. So it's helping provide value for the end user who's looking for you. You guys use those too?
We used to a lot.
Yeah, I know we do similar things. And yeah, local points of interest in general. I know we've even used it offsite too, just for like link building and things like that as well. So
yeah.
Yeah. So that's some other things I just like to do. And yeah, I could zoom into Google Maps and start going through, like, zoom in, going, okay, what's around here? And you can't, how do you take yourself out of the equation? How do you teach someone to find all the DART stations in downtown Dallas? It just takes too long, and you'll get crappy results. So I figured, well, let's just have Google tell me what's close by, and it's repeatable. It's a process. So that's some other little things I do on the side that not many people see. So, alrighty.
Nice. Yeah, AI is really helpful.
That's kind of all I had. I mean, you can start giving me all the tough questions now.
We did promise you a grueling interrogation session.
if I click stop, that's going to only stop my sharing my screen,
Exactly.
correct?
Yep. Just don't click to leave.
How come you guys aren't using Zoom like everyone else?
Well, this is our AI platform that does a lot more than just the Zoom recording. It does
Okay.
individual
Right on.
recordings and transcriptions and video shorts and editing, and takes out all the awkward silent moments. Something I should
There's
probably.
a lot of post-production stuff on the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, I mean, we scratch the surface. If just as before we finish, is like people can just message me. Do your homework first. Like, don't ask me like, how do I rank number 1 on Google? I'm gonna say like, learn SEO first. Look, if you come with me, I should be careful because I don't want like 100 people to be messaging me every day. I'm spending like an hour, 2 hours a day answering questions. I'm an open book for the most part. If you have a really specific question, you've done your homework, you know the context, what's the issue you have, what have you tried, and tell me that, I'll be more than willing to help you. But do some work first, try and figure it out. I was there before once as well. I still am, and I'm always learning. But come in with understanding what is the specific issue you're having, what is the end goal that you want to have. If you can get that to me, I don't mind answering your questions.
That's a pretty good rule to make sure you're only answering good questions.
People that actually put in the effort, really, because otherwise they're just there to get a quick answer. But I mean, I like to cheat and take the easy way out, so I just like to throw all my questions right at Simon right out the gate without even thinking first.
Yeah, broad, ambiguous ones too. Like, hey, Simon, how do you rank number 1?
For tomatoes?
Tomato.
What backlink should I build?
What's that?
Those are hard questions to answer. Right?
Yeah.
You get a lot of those, and it's like, man, there's so much nuance. There's so much context I don't know. So yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's a pretty good standard to have if you're going to be answering people's questions.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Ask better questions, you get better answers.
This is true. This is very true. So I think we'll give another solid plug. Check out schema.zone. That's Simon's entity and schema tool that he built. And check out Simon on Facebook. He mentioned he has this this presentation, and I'm friends with Simon on Facebook. I see that he often posts, so you can get some more there. Am I missing anything there, Simon? Schema.zone. Follow you on Facebook.
That's pretty much it. Do your homework. Ask good questions. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable on Facebook. Like, if you don't know, look, hey, I don't know this. I need some help. I've tried this. I was there for. I mean, all of us were. And you guys have been around the block a few times when it comes to SEO. But there's stuff that you still don't know. Do you say, oh, I don't know how to do this, just give up? No, you go out there and you seek you seek help, but you're not afraid to ask for help. There was a chap in Australia that I was working with recently. He reached out to me, and we actually jumped on a half an hour Zoom call about schema. He's like, oh my God, I get it. It's been spending months trying to figure out this schema stuff. And now it's like a light bulb went off in his head, but he was asking the right questions, and so I was just, I don't do this. I don't do half-hour, free consultations. I do paid consultations, but I don't do free stuff for just because I did it for one person doesn't mean to say I'll do it for someone else. But he was willing to learn and was asking some really good questions. So think about what you're trying to achieve.
I like that. I think that's good parting words of wisdom, Simon. I think that is good parting words of wisdom. Everyone go check out Simon. I've known Simon for a lot of years. He's a cool cat.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Simon's work as well, and his schema tool that he is now letting me use along with everyone else. So thank you, Simon. With that, I guess I'll take us out. So thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of The Vault. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment. You can find us on all your favorite podcasting platforms, Facebook, YouTube. Smash that like button, subscribe, tell your friends. And until next time, we will see you then. Bye.
Cheerio for now.